Oh, sorry, that's me.
That's your.
Hello,
It's live.
Dr. Geraldine Tan is here. It's just like I've been quite fascinated with my techno album.
Oh,
Yeah, this is great. You know, I like the way you kiss.
because of the ubbing that you are.
You see, listen.
Oh wow,
Okay.
that is quite serious for 8 o'clock. Okay, all right. Good morning, Dr. Geraldine Tan.
Good morning. What a bright start. Oh my goodness.
Did you expect anything less?
No.
Jerry, we're very, very excited because of the Stronger Together Navigating Emotions in Childhood and Adolescence workshop that you're
Yes.
conducting.
Yes. It is a workshop that we are conducting, and we have 2 sessions on that day for parents as well as children, because we're going to run it concurrently. So we're going to have 2 sessions, right? So the earlier session are for the younger children, so parents with younger children. But the parents will have their own workshop, and then the children will have their own activities.
Oh,
So
nice.
they'll be separated. Yeah. So the team will be working with them using different therapeutic methods, so the children will get to experience a little bit of that group therapy. And the parents will have a workshop with myself as well as some other guests that I'll be having.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so this is happening on the 12th of October, which is a Saturday, at the SPH Auditorium here in Bradle. And the first session that Dr. Gerry was talking about for children between the ages of 6 and 12 happens from 9 to 11:30 a.m. And the topic for this is succeeding together with my child. Then there's a second session which begins at 10:30 a.m. So they kind of overlap each other till 1 p.m. And that's Voices of Teens, which is open to parents and teens aged between 13 and 18 years old. I'd like to see how many 16 and 18-year-olds actually come, because that's a really difficult age where they really don't want to do anything with their parents.
Yes. So for the second session, we are having special guests from the Kentridge Secondary School, and they will be performing. So the drama club has put up something, and that's why it's called Voices of Teens, because I want their voices to be heard. So that was my appeal to them. So I want them to tell us how it is like to be a teen, and then following that, there will be a panel discussion.
Nice. Okay, so if you're wondering how much this will cost, it's $87.20 for one parent and one child. That's for one session. But if you want to attend both sessions, then it's $163.50. Now you can find all the details on our website at kiss92.sg. Just click on the banner for Stronger Together Navigating Emotions in Childhood and Adolescence with Dr. Geraldine Tan and her team from the therapy room, also known as Snecka. And you can click on that. And Snecka, you can click on that and find out all the details and make your bookings there as well.
All right. How much time before we go on air, Shirley? 5 minutes? 50 seconds.
50
Good. Okay.
seconds.
We'll talk a little bit more about that in a while, because we want everyone who has, especially needs to be at the workshop, to be there on
Yes.
Saturday,
Yeah.
12th October
Yeah.
at the Singapore Press Holdings Auditorium.
We'll talk about
Yeah.
it more.
Okay, stand by.
Of games. The Scottish Government is reportedly close to agreeing to a deal to run a scaled-down event featuring fewer sports. This comes after the Australian state of Victoria withdrew, citing rising costs. Australian authorities have promised a multi-million pound investment to help finalise Glasgow's offer to rescue the multi-sport event. That's all for your sports update. I'm Jamit Singh.
Kiss 92 Sports is brought to you by SPC. Formulated with advanced additives and friction reduction technology, SPC Level effectively cleans your engine, restores power and performance for a smoother, more responsive drive. all with greater fuel savings.
Wake up.
Wake up!
Wake up. Get up.
You get out of bed this instant.
And turn it on. Glenn, Angel, and the Flying Dutchman. The Big Show on Kiss 92.
Good morning, Singapore. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to Jamit Singh for bringing us the news. I have to say, your name always reminds me of Kermit. I always think Kermit the Frog when I hear Jamit. Anyway, that's beside the point. Dr. Geraldine Tan is on the show today. Good morning, Gerry.
Good morning.
Good morning,
I wonder what
Doctor.
you had for breakfast today.
Nothing, actually.
Yeah, this is why the lack of food is what's causing the insanity.
Correct. When I eat, I feel so relaxed. I feel like I want to sleep. But when I starve myself a little bit,
He has more
is
energy.
What you get.
Yeah, we'll make sure he's fed before the next time. Now, Dr. Gerry, before we jump into our topic for today, we want to bring light to an event that's going to be happening next month, in under a month actually, on the 12th of October, which is a Saturday here at the SPH Auditorium. Can you tell us a little bit more about this seminar/workshop that's entitled Stronger Together, Navigating Emotions in Childhood and Adolescence?
Yep, so super exciting. We're going to have 2 sessions on that day. The very first session is catered for parents and children from the ages of 6 to 12. So we want parents to succeed with children. We want them to enjoy parenting and not only just focus on the children succeeding. So what we're going to do is we're going to split the parent and child up. So the parents will have their own workshop, and they will have another therapist with me. So myself as well as another therapist talking about one of the topics is clinical issues and also working on behavior. So for those that want to learn or want to discuss about how they can work on the children's difficult behaviors, please come. And the children will have their own little activities. And it will be conducted by my team, using different therapeutic methods.
Okay, and I think this is going to be so helpful to parents, especially, relatively young parents, right? Sometimes, their kid acts up, they don't know what to do, they're second guessing most of the time. I think they're going to be much, much better parents after attending your seminar.
I think so as well. Dr. Gerry, the second session is for the teens, so it's Voices
Yes.
of Teens, and that happens
Yes.
from 10:30 to 1 p.m. Are you
Correct.
is it also going to be kind of the same MO where the parents and the teens get separated? What's going to be happening then?
No, so this one is a little bit different. We're going to have the Cambridge Secondary School drama team to help us with this section. So they're going to start the session off with a skit because we want them to be heard. We want their voices to be heard. So we're going to talk a little bit about like self-esteem, which is very important for the teens, and other topics about, the teenage phase of life. So after the skit, we will have a panel discussion. So yes, where we will include one of the teens also. So
Self-esteem
Nice.
and confidence. Can you teach them how to be like, after they improve their self-esteem, the next stage should be confidence. What do you think?
confidence first. before
Overconfidence also better, I think. Overconfidence.
I'll
maybe.
leave it to the experts.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to sign up and find out more, you can go to kiss92.sg.
Just to mention, if you are attending one session, I think we mentioned this off air just now. It's $87.20. If it's 2 sessions, it's $163.50. What else do they get for that amount of money that they're going to
we're
be paying?
still curating the goodie bag, but in the goodie bag, definitely they'll have one of our tote bags. So if
Okay.
you have seen our tote bags, it's really big and good quality, and also some files for the children and other things that our partners will be putting inside. So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's continue to talk to Gerry on the Big Show TV. Today we are going to be talking about psychological assessments and testing.
Yeah.
So it's like a miniature sort of preempt to October the 12th?
A little bit, yes.
Okay,
so
cool.
I wanted to share also because a couple of things. One is for the workshop itself. I wouldn't go into all these details here. It will be a different set of details, but I'll also be talking about some clinical disorders. But also because I realize I'm not sure why people are still very worried about coming forward, and they're getting confused between therapy, assessment, and testings. So they are, so we are on a quest to teach them the language of psychology. So I thought, let's do it.
Yeah, that sounds hard, but not as hard as what I'm about to do. Here's Carol G with Si Antes Te Hubiera Conocido on Kiss 92.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. You need credit
Gracias.
for that. Gracias. De nada. Okay, Dr. Gerry, so tell us what the difference is between going for therapy, being assessed, or being tested psychologically.
Yeah, so a lot of times we just say, oh, go to a psychologist, go to a psychologist. But what do you go to a psychologist for? So your GP or your psychiatrist would tell you, go to a psychologist to work on some concerns. So it could be, so if you're going for therapy, it could be perhaps family issues, marital issues. It can be those issues. But there are some areas that only the psychologist can do, which are the psych assessments and psych testing. So when we talk about psych assessments, so assessments and testings are actually different. So you have assessment, which is like an initial consult, a very detailed question and an interview. So a lot of times we have this whole host of questions that we need to complete, which some people say, oh, but the psychologists don't let me talk at all. They just keep asking questions.
Which psychologists are they going to? Clearly the wrong ones.
Usually it's the other way around, right?
It
Psychologist has no chance to talk.
It sounds like if Glenn became a psychologist, he would be the one doing most of the talking.
Actually, it's true. I've seen, I have seen a few, and most of the time I'm doing the talking.
Yeah, so even as that's why you're not a psychologist.
But if we're doing an assessment and we're doing an initial consult, we do have to ask the question. We need to find out more details from you. So it ends up that, especially for the younger psychologists who literally have a template behind their board or now on their devices, they'll be asking a slew of questions, including, the perhaps the daily routine, whether you're eating, whether you're sleeping, what's going on with you, more than what you're going there for, because they need to find out all these details to make an informed decision for the next steps.
Yeah, but that's, I guess, what every new therapist would do. That's how you would start out as well, right? That going through a template until you really get that flow and that experience to be able to ask your client the right questions.
Yes, but although the more senior ones may hold it like a dialogue, we are still asking quite a number of questions. We are still trying to obtain as much information as possible, especially in the first session. So that's our assessment. Before we can tell you, okay, we suspect, or this is our hypothesis, and you should go in this direction or that direction, or if testing is required.
Okay.
I would think that test would go down well actually with a first time. What do you call them again? Clients.
Clients.
With
Yeah.
a first time client, because nothing beats going into the room, the therapy room, and then your psychologist starts to ask you a few questions just to get to know you a little better and get to know the situation. I like answering questions.
Yes.
Is that is that normal? I mean, do you like answering questions?
I don't mind it, but I can see where the hesitance will lie with people who are sort of a little bit scared to go into seeing a psychologist because they're like, oh, they're going to test me. They're going to assess me. And I'm not sure if I'm going to pass or fail. When it's not about passing or failing, it's just about
Correct.
sort of finding out who the client is. But people
Correct.
have that mindset, right? When a test or an assessment comes along, it's like, am I going to do well?
Yeah.
You know, am I going to come out looking crazy in front of my therapist, or what's going to happen? I think that's what it is.
Therapists never judge, right?
They shouldn't.
Gerry is like,
No, but we assess the mental situation of the person at that point in time. So that's an assessment. So we want to assess whether it's clinical, we want to assess whether it's relational, whether it's marital, whether there is a developmental issue, or whether there's a learning issue. So that's when we then segue into, we suspect that there is a developmental issue or a learning issue. Then we can move into testing.
right.
Okay.
Can you
After
fight?
testing, then we do testing.
Okay. So just by asking like one or two questions, will you be able to tell if this person needs a lot of help?
Oh dear. So for those that say, just based on one remark or based on or just looking at you, I conclude, so you have a conclusion. I would not really even trust myself to do that. I don't think it's quite right. It's not fair for the other person. Yeah, because then you'll be jumping to conclusion, which we don't want to jump to conclusion. We want to find out all the details before we make an informed decision.
But if you want to make a lot of money, you can sit there and look at the person and go, you need 10 sessions. Sign up for my package now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no!
I'm sure there are some quacks like that, the ones that are just in it for the money, the ones that don't really care what happens to their clients. They just want to chalk up the hours so that they make that money.
Hopefully, no one like that here in Singapore.
Well, I don't know.
Certainly know that
Not at the therapy room, yeah.
Gerry and her therapist are awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Let's go to traffic. We got traffic and then we'll continue.
Stand by in 30 seconds.
One Alun says, please give Glenn a font size of 35.
Why?
Because clearly you were squinting.
What was I?
You were reading something.
Alun, how do you know?
Kiss 92 Traffic.
Traffic CEO. You have
Okay.
been promoted.
Thank you.
FD is now the traffic warden.
Okay, on the TPE towards the PIE, a vehicle's broken down at the TPE PIE entrance. Also on the PIE towards Tuas after the KJE, avoid the rightmost lane. An accident has been spotted. And finally on the TPE towards the PIE before the Sengkang exit, avoid the rightmost lane. Yet another accident. If you spot anything else, 8855
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for today is award-winning psychologist from the therapy room, Dr. Geraldine Tan. And Gerry and her team will be navigating emotions in childhood and adolescence in the form of a seminar. A seminar is going to be conducted on the 12th of October at the SPH Auditorium. Of course, it involves a workshop as well, okay? So if you want to be a part of this and you need to be a part of it, all you need to do is just log on to kiss92.sg and register now.
That's right. So today we're with Dr. Gerry, and it's a little bit of a sneak peek into what you can expect of her style and her team's style on the 12th of October. So today we're talking about psychological assessments and testings. And while we're talking about this, David Boo has come on our Facebook and said, I'm so sad that FD is not here because now there isn't a neutral side.
What do you mean?
It's one or the other. FD is not going to be here and go, yeah, I get you, Glenn. But you know what? I also understand what Angel's saying.
I tell you, it's just supposed to be like the referee, sometimes when Angel and myself fights. But he is like chicken. He will just sit over there and just like okay, maybe I shouldn't get involved. Because he knows either Angel will throw the bell on his head, or I will throw my phone on him.
Oh dear.
yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
We're not going to throw anything at you, FD. Please come back when you get better.
dear.
Actually, it's almost better like this, no? Because, I mean, we'll argue, but then
Yes.
I'll have to give in
Always.
as the man.
No, it's okay. I will win as the woman.
Okay, there you go. And
Okay.
FD is rolling his eyes right now as he watches us. Hello, FD. I am missing you tremendously. I don't know about Angel.
Of course, always.
Okay, so where were we again?
Trying to jump on this conversation, but now it looks like we have to go back on Facebook. No, we're talking about psychological assessments and testings and the difference between that and therapy sessions.
Yes, yes. So the therapy session, so from the assessment, after the psychologist has assessed the situation, then they can decide, is it therapy? So if it's like a marital issue that we need to work with, then you go into therapy. So we use different therapeutic methods. If let's say it is a family issue, then family therapy. If individual work needs to be done, then we do individual work. So it can be behavioral work, it can be working on confidence, it can be working on relationships. So those would be packed into therapy.
So, for example, if you have a couple coming in for therapy, you've done the assessment and the tests and what have you, or even a parent and a child, do you do the follow-up therapy sessions together as a couple or as a parent and child, or are there points when they're individual?
Yeah, so it can be. So for couples, let's take for couples. Sometimes we process it together, both of them. Sometimes there are issues that we need to process individually, or we want to hear them individually. So we want to then see them individually. So it can be a couple and sometimes individual. But if it's a couple session, most of the time, both of them will be in the session.
But if it's individual, then one will be talking behind the other person's back. And then you can observe, what's going on. How come she is saying that about her husband behind his back, and then how come he is saying that about his wife behind her back?
Because everyone always thinks they're the ones that are right and the other person's at fault.
Yeah,
That's what I feel where the problem starts.
So in the session, the therapist or the psychologist, counselor becomes that bridge. So we want to bridge communication. That's how we say it.
that.
Yeah.
Like Angela, always thinking
what?
she's in the right.
I did not say that. I will take credit if I'm wrong.
Luckily, there's only a working relationship.
Oh, stop it. Time check.
Time check. It's 8:23.
Kiss 92 Time Check brought to you.
Yeah. So I think we're still confused with the assessing and then the therapy work. And then there's testing. So testing is a different ballgame altogether. Testings are not your screeners. So sometimes you hear people saying, oh, I did something really fast, like 5 minutes, Those are not your tests. So your tests, when psychologists talk about tests, these are standardized tests. We actually purchase them. They are copyrighted, and they cannot be circulated. So everything is PNC. So we can't even photocopy or anything like that. Otherwise, we'll get into trouble. And these tests will help us to determine things like ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia. So your developmental issues as well as your learning issues.
Okay, so the tests, so you say the assessment happens first when the clients first come into a counselor's office or a therapist's office, and then the therapy happens. Do the tests happen at the end or during the therapy sessions?
Tests can last for a few hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they don't happen concurrently. And the testing has a report that comes with it. So the pricing is different also. So they don't come concurrently, they don't come one after another. So if let's say it is a family issue, we won't push you to testing or to do any testing. But if let's say you come in and we assess and we say, hey, I think there is something else that is going on, perhaps we would like to do some tests. Or parents bring their children, or youths come and say, I think I'm struggling in my university. I would like to be tested. Yeah, so we still do that assessing to assess what our test might be. So the
Just feel like
battery of tests can be different.
The word test, I don't like the word
I prefer
test.
the word assessment, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
No.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
So
But-
you're saying these tests are templates that have been put together by some psychological board, international sort of.
Yep. So
Board
different
advisory.
authors, right? And it has been put through rigorous sort of research. So these are your IQ tests, your achievement tests, so
EQ
all
and
the
whatnot.
different, yes. So all those are standardized tests.
I feel I would I would ace those tests.
You see,
I really do.
I hate tests.
I don't mind tests.
So the moment you mention test, right, I'm like,
You clamp up like you
yeah.
freeze, right?
Someone who's so open to going to see you, for example, then you mention
Yeah.
tests, right? Then I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
Become
I'm
like
sure
a
I'm not the
tortoise.
only one.
No, I'm sure
It's
you're
like
not.
one flew over the cuckoo's test.
Yes,
It's like
that is the
it's like-
title of the book.
Yeah, it's like if I don't pass means I'm like,
That's exactly what I was saying. For people going in to see a psychologist, you're like, am I going to pass this assessment? Am I going to
Yeah.
pass this test? So
No,
do you
no.
guys run it, or do you give the papers to the client to
there are
fill them up?
papers.
Yeah, she said there are different papers.
How about an oral test? Like you just ask me questions and I give you the answers and you kind of like grade me accordingly.
Exactly what I'm asking. Is that what happens, or do you give the papers to Glenn and then he ticks off the boxes?
Not all. So the ones, so for example, if we talk about a personality test, so that one is a paper and pen test.
Okay.
Or nowadays it is on screen because safety. So we put everything on screen, online rather. But there are some that are administered. So your IQ tests, the various IQ tests are still administered. That means the psychologist will be administering the different activities to the client.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right.
Then there would be those that are computerized, which are your attention test. So it's the client and the computer, but the psychologist will be in the room with the client to do observation work.
Okay.
One day, all tests and exams will be oral. Can you imagine that? It's like, I think I would do very, very well. I've
Really?
never liked sitting down and writing. I hate writing.
But I guess, Dr. Gerry, different people react to different tests differently. Or the
Yes.
same test, I beg your pardon, differently.
Correct. Yeah, so some people they enjoy because they are not as extroverted as Glenn. So they prefer to just do their own activities. There are those that are able to perform under pressure. So we actually can observe that. Those that find it very difficult or they feel very anxious when it's a time test, and these are things that we are looking out for also. So it's not just the results that we're looking out for, it's also what we observe in the sessions, or rather in the testing process that we are looking out for.
Okay. Are there other measures that are measured during these tests, like heartbeat, brain waves,
No.
wires, and all sorts of stuff? You know what I mean? Because that's what you see on TV, right? Oh, someone's going to take a test and all these wires are hooked up. So perhaps you can debunk that myth that they're not going to
No.
get wired up.
So those are perhaps your neurofeedback, your biofeedback, where you get hooked up to different patches, I think. Yeah, where they measure your heart rate, they measure your brain waves. Yeah, so it's really different. So we perform these tests really is an administered test, and it's usually quite painless. It's just very long. 'Cause there are so
Usually
many
quite painless. I like how she says usually. The 1% of the time it's not.
And very long. She said very long
Very
as
long.
well.
How long is long though?
Well, it depends on how many tests, right? So
All
each
right.
test is about an hour to an hour and a half. So if we multiply that by like 3-4 tests, then it will be that amount of time. And if the client or the child gets really, really tired, we pace with them. We don't hurry them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't like to hurry the clients because we won't get an accurate reading, or it's not fair for them.
Yeah. Is there a failing of this test, or it's just how it turns out?
It's not about a pass and a fail. So yes, we do get a number right at the end, but more than a pass and a fail, it helps us to see the strength and weaknesses. And that's where, the difference, so where does this report go, right, after the results are obtained? It goes to, after we've interpreted it, it goes to the school. So the school needs to know how severe, and how they can support. Or it goes to other colleagues like speech therapists, occupational therapists, educational therapists, who are able to then hold on to the report and understand what they need to do from there.
Okay. And it goes to the school as well. So if it goes to the
Yes.
school, does it go to the workplace?
No, so your workplace may not know how to read the report, so it confuses them more than it helps them. For the school, how it's being used is that the teachers would then know what the diagnosis is. They know how severe and what their recommendations on the report or in the report itself. And if the student needs access means access arrangements for examination, more time, a quieter room, even a prompter. If, let's say, they have ADHD and they drift off, for example, so they are not performing to their potential. So there we can request for a prompter to be present.
Oh, wow.
Okay, hold on. We're going for another traffic update. Stand by.
Kiss 92 traffic.
On the TPE towards the PIE, at the TPE PIE entrance, look out for an accident. Also on the AYE towards the MCE, a vehicle's broken down after Bona Vista's exit. And finally on the MCE towards the AYE, another vehicle's having some trouble right before the Maxwell Road exit. Wherever you are this morning, stay safe.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for Tuesday and every Tuesday is award-winning psychologist from the therapy room located at the Orchard Building, by the way. Correct, Gerry? It's Orchard Building, right?
Orchard Shopping Centre. Don't go to the wrong one.
Orchard Shopping Centre.
Building is the one where H&M is.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because my gym used to be there where
Right,
H&M
right.
is, but hers is Orchard Shopping Centre.
Orchard Shopping Centre, correct.
Yeah.
Just go and
Yes.
see Dr. Gerry, and then after that, go shopping at H&M.
That's right. Very nice spot.
Welcome, Gerry.
Welcome back too.
Yeah, we're talking about psychological assessments and testings. Now, if you have some trepidation about going in to see someone or speak to someone, Dr. Gerry is here to help you make that decision a little bit easier. So, how can one make that decision about whether to see a psychologist or not?
So For the testing, these are more straightforward. Most of the time it's very, very straightforward. A child is struggling in school. They're not quite sure why they're struggling. We need to figure out whether it is a developmental issue. And when we talk about developmental issues, it is like your ADHD, your autism, your cerebral palsy, your Down syndrome. So these can impact attention, executive functioning, as well as cognitive functioning. So we want to figure out like how severe it might be. So that's why we do testing. After we assess what might some of these developmental issues be, then we do testing. So the difference between assessing is the parent says, I don't know what my child has. So they bring the child in and we speak with them and we realize, we suspect that based on what your presenting issues are or the signs and symptoms that you presented to us, it appears to fit ASD or ADHD. Now that's a hypothesis. Okay, then we say, let's do testing to help us to verify some of these suspicion, right? Then we do testings. So the child then goes for these testings perhaps on the same day or on another day. Yeah.
Dr. Gerry, there was a report in the Straits Times 2 days ago that over 1 in 100 children in Singapore have autism, only because you brought autism up as a disorder, right?
Correct.
Why are the numbers so high? Have they increased in recent years or have they gone down? You would know these numbers.
Yeah, so it hasn't gone down. In fact, because of the awareness, because of the understanding, and there is a spectrum. So therefore, the numbers are high and maybe even unreported, because for the milder ones or those that have low support needs, they don't come forward and sometimes we don't see them. So those that we used to classify as Asperger's with high IQ, really high functioning, they may not even realize that they have autism, because they can cope with so many other areas, but they may be limited in terms of the social skills. They may have rigid thinking. They may be rigid. They may have poorer, not mobility, I suppose, coordination rather. Yeah, but they don't think that they fit the traditional sort of autistic-like behaviors.
Okay, so the numbers could be a lot higher then.
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll continue to talk to Gerry on The Big Show TV, and I want to ask her more about ADHD. So stay tuned for that. The Chainsmokers and Kim Petras, they're next. Don't Lie on Kiss 92.
Okay, what about
Sorry, chew my throat.
ADHD?
So ADHD, is that like a big problem?
You were not here when we spoke about
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Where was I? I was on
you,
leave.
you were somewhere, China maybe?
Frolicking.
China.
You were frolicking in China, Glenn. I didn't say it.
So ADHD kids are just distracted all the time. Is that it?
No, so there are 3 different kinds, right? So there is the restless impulsive, there's also the inattentive type, and there's a combined sort where you combine restless impulsive as well as inattentive.
Wow.
So in the past, before these tests and all that, nobody knew lah. It was it was just like someone's character.
Yeah.
This person is just quiet, or this person just can't seem to pay attention. But it is it is. Is it one of the most common, I don't want to call it problem, or is it one of the most common conditions among children here in Singapore?
It is one that is we are able to test and able to manage quite easily. So I would say, don't hesitate. We don't want to overdiagnose anyone also, but there are far too many children who are labeled naughty, lazy. Therefore, if they're struggling, we want parents to bring them forward so that we can make the right assessment and, do the right testing also. So earlier we talked about the developmental issues. Now there are also learning issues. Learning issues comprise of your dyslexia, your dyscalculia, your auditory processing disorder, language processing disorder, non-verbal learning disabilities, visual perceptual, and visual motor deficit.
What's the second one you
a
mentioned?
lot.
The second one after dyslexia?
Dyscalculia.
What is that?
Dyscalculia, an issue with math. They find it difficult to process math. There's
As do
also
I,
dys-
though.
Yeah, me
I
too.
I think that's my reason.
I hate numbers.
Yeah, no, numbers are the worst. So, how do you spell it again? Yeah, I must be.
Dyscalculia. DISCAL.
she's like already shaking her head.
CULIA.
DY, is it?
Dyscalculia.
Is it DY?
Yeah. So dyslexia is DYS. So the dys family. Very
The
good
dys
try
family.
though. I would have spelled it the same way, but yes, it's just a Y instead of an I.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Just like the vacuum
so-
cleaner, Dyson.
This is yes, James Dyson was dyslexic at the time.
Yeah.
So-
I hope he's not
Dyscalculia.
listening.
And look at how successful he is today. yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's something I want to. I mean, nothing. No disrespect for Mr. Dyson. Okay.
Oh wow! You just did it again.
But if you have a learning issue, if you have a developmental issue, it doesn't mean that you are that's the end for you or you cannot succeed in life. Many people with dyslexia, dyscalculia, ADHD are very, very accomplished people, and that's something I would like to share with everyone, because a lot of parents, a lot of children themselves feel like, oh, if I have dyslexia or if I have ADHD, I'm doomed for life. That's not true. So they get very despondent when they hear that they have a diagnosis. But oftentimes I say having a diagnosis allows us to manage it differently. You will still be challenged or you will still feel frustrated at times, but you will know how to better manage it.
Dr. Gerry, someone has come in on our YouTube channel and asked whether it's possible for a gifted child, as in per our local education system, to have
Yep.
ADHD.
Of course.
Okay.
So the disorders do not pick and choose where you're from, which race you're from, whether what your intellect level is. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. You can be intelligent and have dyslexia. You can be extremely gifted and have ADHD.
I want to bring up something because we were talking about James Dyson earlier, and they have this James Dyson Award. So every
Yes.
year they have teams that submit the most innovative inventions ever. And I just Googled one
We've
of
worked
them.
with them a few times.
We've
yeah.
worked with them a few times, yeah. I just Googled them. One of their years, Otto, the massage chair, OTO, Otto, they actually created the hugging chair made for people with autism.
Oh,
How sweet is that? Isn't that wonderful? So
the
what
hugging chair.
Yeah, so what it does
Yeah.
is the hug chair has inner walls that can apply deep pressure on the chest or on the legs. And this allows to feel the limits of your body and focus on sensory information and reduce tension to help people with autism feel better in that environment.
because of that
It's nice and
compression. Just,
warm
yeah.
and comfortable. How lovely is that? So I just thought I'd bring them up. I'm not sure if it went to production, but I think the idea is absolutely awesome. The hugging chair.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Okay. I wanted to ask you something. It slipped my mind now.
Oh,
Because
no.
we
It's
started talking
okay.
about James
I will
Dyson.
share.
Yeah,
I
go
will
ahead.
share famous people that have dyslexia.
Okay.
Our Lee Kuan Yew has dyslexia.
Had
Yes.
dyslexia? Okay.
Yes. Agatha Christie, if we remember this author, so those during my time who read Agatha Christie will know. Muhammad Ali, Richard Branson, Jamie Oliver all have dyslexia. So they might not be too great in that whole structured academic system, but they flourished when they found their niche.
Very creative people.
I don't believe Lee Kuan Yew had dyslexia.
Well,
I have to take your word for it.
yeah. Do you find that people with, say, dyslexia, let's pick dyslexia, are more creative than, or are creative mostly? Not more creative, are creative.
They are, I guess those that are highlighted can appear to be very creative, but also because many times these people with a disorder may look for other coping mechanisms. So the different parts of the brain is being activated and being exercised. So it appears like they are more creative, but it's also because they have used that part of the brain a little bit more. Yeah.
To make up for.
Yep.
Okay.
Look at FD's photo. Are we on Facebook and YouTube?
We are on the Big
Look
Show
at FD's
TV.
photo. Look at the top of his head.
What about it?
Looks like the tip of a cigarette.
Glenn. It's terrible.
What? I think you really need food next time.
I think so. He's dying of hunger, but he just won't say it.
But speaking of hair and all that, look at my hairstyle. Look. You know what it's called? Toot. Toot. Hairstyle.
Is that
What's
what
wrong with my hair today?
Is that what you go to your hairdresser for and tell him?
No. Jarek is watching right now. He'll be
Oh,
like, Glenn, can you please put
it's-
some wax
So
in your
it's not
hair?
on
or
purpose
something?"
then.
No, but it's not falling in place properly.
Looks
Oh,
like-
now I look like you now.
Oh,
See?
yeah, see? And it's going the same way as well. wait, let me fix my hair. And have it go the
Oh
other way.
man, very soon we'll need a hairstylist to be in the studio.
Yeah, and a makeup artist.
Especially when the big show becomes bigger.
Lots of exciting news coming your way.
Stay tuned.
All right, traffic.
Yes. Stand by. Traffic. See you.
Kiss 92 traffic.
If you're on Jalan Boon Lay heading towards Jalan Tukang, look out for an accident right after Tractor Road and avoid the right lane. Also, if you're on the CTE towards the AYE after the Bradle Road and Lorong Chuan exit, a vehicle's broken down there. If you spot anything at all, our number is 88550920.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. What I'm going to do is, because I think FD has not been doing it very well, he hasn't been saying hello to the people who are watching us on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and we'd like to say hello to somebody. There you go. This is why we don't let you do Facebook. Okay, so we're going to say good morning to a few people that are watching us. You see?
There's a slight
Volume,
delay.
Glenn. Volume.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I give up.
You're terrible at this. Okay, we'd like to say good morning to Kelvin. Good morning to Albert, as well as Benjamin, Rachel, Vivian, May Schooling is watching, and Belinda. But we have a question from Kelvin for you, Dr. Gerry. He says, how do we know that all these accomplished people had those conditions? Like your Lee Kuan Yew and your Richard Branson, were they actually tested?
Yes, let's not go making things up now.
With these myriad of conditions, how does a child know which condition they have? Will they need to be tested for all?
Okay, so in some of the previous years or decades, it may not have been accessible, but based on symptoms, it is possible that they were told that they have. So you're right, I didn't personally test them, so I would not know. But the younger ones possibly have obtained their own testing and have declared. So
Okay.
they declare it.
themselves.
And we get to know about it, and we learn, that they have this disorders, how they overcome these disorders, and how they are successful, how they overcome it and become successful. So for the younger ones, do they know that they have it? Most of the time the children don't know, because they live with their disorder. They assume the world is such. They assume everyone is struggling just like them. So that's what many of them actually have shared with us. So it is the teachers that highlight the issues to the parents that observe that the children are struggling, and then they bring the children to us.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to say hello to, Belinda Sue, who says, good morning, lovely people. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival.
Yes.
It's today.
It is today.
Also to Albert Tay, thanks very much for tuning in. Vivian Lee, Rachel Wah, Benjamin OK. Is it okay? QK. Oh my god, my eyesight is so horrible.
Yes. I already read all those names, right?
Oh, everyone already. Yeah.
Just about.
Very good.
Yeah,
very good.
just
Well
about. Just about. Good morning to everybody that's watching us on the Big Show TV. We'll spare your eyesight, Glenn.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Jerry, we gotta go. Any last
Yes.
words?
Yeah, so before I give the little code, making the session work for you, please research about the psychologist. There's always a psychologist and so therapist and client fit. So it doesn't mean that the first time you go to someone, it will fit. And we would not be offended if you say, I think, I prefer another one. That's perfectly fine with us. Yeah. Let us know your goals so that we know how to assist you also. Because if you come in and say, I don't know why I'm here, then we'll just sit there and go, okay, shall we look for a goal together? Because you can't just sit there and not know what your direction is, because it's not up to the psychologist to help you search for the goal, right?
Correct.
Yes, and yeah, so also research about the place, because sometimes there are some environments that you're a little bit more comfortable, even the physical space. So not just the person, but the physical space. So that's trying to make the session work for you. And because it's Mid-Autumn Festival, let me try. I haven't used Mandarin for a long time, but I will try. 当愿人长久 千里共婵娟. So it means that we hope that your loved one stays with you for a long time, and no matter where they are, you are looking at the same moon.
Oh, that's lovely.
Do you say living for a long time?
Yes.
As in one shui,
Be with-
shui.
Be with you for a long time. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you, Dr. Jerry.
Thank you so much. As always, it's been a pleasure. Look at that smile. Look at that smile.
Yeah, and if you want to see that smile in person, remember, Stronger Together, Navigating Emotions in Childhood and Adolescence. That seminar is going on at the SPH Auditorium on the 12th of October. If you want a better relationship with your child from the age of 6 to 18, you can sign up and find out more at kiss92.sg.
All right. Remember, it's happening on the 12th of October. That's a Saturday, okay? Thank you so much, Jerry.
Bye.
Have a wonderful
See you
week.
next week.
See you next week. Mwah.
Bye-bye. Headline news and sports up next.
Glenn